it's Tommy Allen from TommyAllenMusic.com. Welcome. This week we have Elles Bailey, a British singer-songwriter based in Bristol. If you're enjoying his interviews, please leave a comment below, hit the subscribe button, and let's jump straight to it. Well, thank you very much for being a part of this.
Oh, pleasure.
So, what is your name short for anything, Els?
So I'm christened Eleanor. Yeah, and I've never really been called that. I was Ellie for a long time, then I was Elle, and then I was Els, and Els just stuck. So there's not many Elses as well.
So what's your sort of first introduction to music?
Oh gosh, I don't remember not, if you know what I mean. It was one of those classic ABBA sing before you can talk type thing. So I did musical theatre when I was younger, and I started writing from a really young age. Like, it's just always been music, really, right from the word go. So my dad was in a band, my mum sang gospel songs, my brother played guitar. That was just us. It was very much a musical life.
So what about blues then? How did that enter your life?
So I think that was kind of through my dad. He had loads of old blues records and stuff like that. But loads of it, it's not just blues. It's Americana, it's country, it's soul. Like, it's all the influences that my parents, used to play. Lots of like just American roots music. And, I've been very much championed by the blues scene, but I wouldn't sort of necessarily say that I'm just a blues artist.
No, okay. And was the piano first before the singing, or the singing first, or?
Definitely singing first. I was a very reluctant piano learner. My mum used to force me. It would be like punishment if I'd be naughty. It was like, you have to go play the piano, which probably isn't like the best thing to do, but I'm so grateful that she actually made me learn it in the end, because especially for times like this in lockdown, flipping heck, if I'd not known how to play the piano, I don't know what I'd have done. So I'm very grateful to mum for forcing me to learn how to play. I keep looking down, the piano's right there, if you're wondering why. Yes, this is the piano, the Joanna.
Oh, okay. So with the piano side of things, you was obviously trained up to a certain grade?
Yeah, so I went up to grade 3 piano. So really not that far. I was one of those, I think, I was probably taught in the wrong way. I was taught from a really young age, taught to play classical music, not interested one bit in classical music. I'm way more interested in it now, but then I was just like, I just didn't like it. And I couldn't read music either. So when you're learning classical music, reading music is very much a big part of that. So what I used to do is I'd get the teacher to play it for me, and then I'd kind of learn it by ear. And that got me as far as grade 3. And then they kind of figured out what I was doing. And it was also then that I changed schools and changed teachers. And basically my mum then said to this new teacher, teach her how to chord out and write songs like Elton John. And that's when it kind of all changed for me. So that was when I learned how to play chords and understand like chord structure and that type of stuff. And
how old was you then?
I was 13 then, yeah. And then I started writing then. So it was as soon as I sort of had this sort of change in direction and change in teacher and sort of just change in creativity, I think that's when it actually sort of started me on.
So what about your first band?
Well, I was 12. We were a covers band, and I played the bass. We didn't do many gigs and I was terrible. But my first band I played bass in, which I'm very proud of.
So what was the transition from that then to your band now? Did you go to open mic nights and find musicians you want to work with, or?
I mean, they're they're very different stories. So
Right. Okay.
I was in an indie band for quite a long time. It was a very long time ago. So yeah, so I started writing music and sort of fronting an indie band, and I did that until I was about 21, and we toured all over. And at the time, we toured with some pretty big acts like Scouting for Girls and stuff like that. Sort of when they were pretty big. I did some shows with the Sugar Babes, and it was very different to the music that I do now. But at 21, I was quite disillusioned. I was in a band with my brother, and he actually sort of stopped doing music. And I kind of thought, I don't think I can do this by myself as well. So I took some time out. I went to uni. I studied psychology, and then in my final year, I started working with a producer friend of mine, and that was kind of the beginning of the Elles Bailey project. But it took me a very long time to find my voice in this project, and years really. And it was only sort of 2015, 2016 when I really started to explore exactly like what I wanted to play and what I wanted to say as well.
Right. So when was that? When Wildfire came out?
So Wildfire came out sort of tail end of 2017.
Right. Okay.
And but I recorded it in 2016, September 2016, and but I'd done most of the writing for that up until then. So yeah, I'd say it was sort of 2015 when 2016 was like really when I started to write exactly what I want to write. But there's songs on Wildfire that I wrote in 2013 and stuff like that. But you kind of have so much time to do your debut album. Like there's just, you can release it whenever you want. There's like no pressures. You can pick and choose the songs for over like a real big period of time. And then that doesn't quite happen for your second album. You have much less time.
So do you have a team that works with you now? Because I've done some look. You've got like the Fake Group, United Talent, and Outlaw Music, and that are any of these yours, or are they?
So Outlaw Music is mine. Yeah. Fake Group, Mark is my manager. I've been working with him since January. United Talent, I've been working with since May this year. So I've been, but up until then, I was working with amazing agents called Midnight Mango, and I think, I've really learned how to do the DIY route. So a lot of the stuff that I've done has been like setting up my own record company, setting up my own tours until Midnight Mango came in, managing a band as well. But it got to the point where I was so busy that I wasn't doing any music. And it was at that point that my brother, who I run Outlaw Music with, we sort of sat down and thought, okay, it's really time we get management involved now, and sort of, yeah. So that's in comes Mark, February 2020.
So for any young players that are watching, any advice then for the DIY side?
Learn it, like really get your teeth into it. There's so many avenues and so many sort of directions that you can take with it, and I know it can be totally overwhelming, but once you start to understand it, I mean, it does kind of become fun. But then I really love the music business. So
what about advice on press kits or press release for young artists? How important are they?
So I think if you get booked for a festival, the festival will ask you for a press kit. So logos, biog, press shots. If you have them all in a Dropbox folder, I have one, it's called Elles Bailey EPK. And as soon as I get booked for something, or I'm working with someone and they need my press kit, at the click of a button, I can just go, there you go. And they've got everything they need. I did a festival at the beginning of lockdown called Lockdown Music Festival. There were 3 of them every week. I did the first one, played it, and then got on the organizational side of things for the next 2 weeks, and it was like pulling teeth asking artists for their logo, for their picture, for a square picture, and for something about them. And if you just have it in a folder already where you don't even need to think about it, it makes your life easier. Festivals are more likely to book you because they've asked for something and they've got it 30 seconds later. So yeah, I think you want to be taken seriously as an artist at the beginning of your career. The one thing you want is you want to be taken seriously. You want to be paid for your gig. You want to be a serious professional artist. That starts with you. Like, you have to present yourself as that. So get yourself a really good logo, get yourself some good press shots, get yourself a short biog and a long biog, put them all in a folder, and then it's there, and it's so easy.
Right, okay. What distributor do you use?
So I use, for physical distribution, I use Proper Distribution, and they distribute me all over the world. And then for Road I Call Home, I've used AWOL, actually for Wildfire as well, which is called Artists Without a Label. But for the singles that I've been releasing since late 2019, I've used DistroKid. So
Are they the ones that got you onto the Spotify? And
no, the distributors, I don't. The stuff that's given me the Spotify stuff is me filling in the pitch forms. I haven't really had any support from my distributors. For Spotify, Proper is totally different because they're physical only. But yeah, for the digital distribution, that's been me going into the Spotify desktop app before my singles released, and filling in a pitch form, which is essentially like, what genre is it? How does it make you feel? Is it a cover? Is it, and it's almost like just filling in dot to dot. But I've released 10 singles, and 8 of them have got on editorial playlists, and I'm at 150,000 monthly listeners. So it's so important to get your head around Spotify for artists, I think.
Right, okay. Your marketing stuff, do you do that in-house or do you pay someone?
So I've been working with a company called Manila PR since 2016. Tony's an absolute legend. He did my second release, my second ever Elles Bailey release, which was the Elberton Sessions. And then for Wildfire, I worked with Tony. I worked with Claire from Central Press, and she's been on the team since early 2017. And I've also worked with Steve Agar, who's done my national radio plugging. So I've had people, quite a big team working on the release. Because there is so much to do when you're releasing a record. I do think having good PR and the right PR and people that care about you as an artist, that's really important, I think, to have that.
So have you gone through a few that you didn't sort of get along with, or before this?
In earlier projects, like when I was doing the indie band. Yeah. So I mean, I remember sort of vowing. Firstly, I basically vowed I'd never be in a band again, and I'd never use PR again. That was, Elles 2007 or something. But so it took me a really, really long time, and I actually did all my own PR until 2016, and then Tony and I worked together, and then it kind of grew and grew. And for the Wildfire release, we wanted to sort of do it properly. But yeah, you can definitely get the wrong PR company. You want someone who believes in you as an artist and you as a and your music. And the team that I've worked with, I truly believe that they are passionate about this project as much as I am. So
that's great. Okay, with the getting to your music, then, what's the most favourite song you've written?
It's often your like latest song or something like that. I'm really proud of a song that I wrote with Tamara Stewart. It's called Walk Away. It's a real, for me, it's a really personal song. It's really like, it cuts straight to the quick, really, and I sing it and it breaks my heart, and it's me at my most brutally honest, I think. However, like, we've literally just been on WhatsApp video call. She's in Nashville and I'm in Bristol, and we've just written another song which is really beautiful as well. So I'm excited. I'm excited to share that.
Is that one of the songs you could play? The one you said that's your favourite, or one you're fond of?
Oh yeah, I definitely could do that.
Would it work on the piano? Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
Do you want me to do it now?
Yeah.
I'm worried about sound, but we'll give it. Hopefully, this will work all right. Didn't see you breaking out. I'm broken. We shattered the words you left unspoken. Never thought I'd ever see you again. Watching you walk away. You're the man I hate, that I wish I forgot the words. And I'm the girl that's begging you to stay while watching you walk away. And I've cried. I couldn't watch you to be. And I've cried, oh river, again and again and again. I wonder if your ghost will ever return. 'Cause everywhere I go, you're haunting me. You took half my heart out of me, and I'm watching you walk away. And I've cried. I couldn't watch you to win. And I've cried, oh river, again and again and again. And again. A brand new stage, but yet the same old song. If I took you for granted, I was hear the aching sound of yesterday, watching you walk away.
Hey, sounds lovely. And that's called, what's it called?
It's called Walk Away.
Walk Away, okay. And what's the story behind that one?
I'm not going to tell you.
No?
No. It's very, 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 very personal. So, yeah.
So is it in the lyrics? Have you found the lyrics to it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a song of regret and remorse and reflection.
Do you have a method to your writing?
No, 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 it's anything. Sometimes the lyrics come, sometimes the melody comes, sometimes they kind of come together. Often like sounds, like melody and lyrics kind of fit together. The song that Tamara and I have just written, actually, I was sort of thinking about for a while, and I'd wrote lots of lyrics down, but just wasn't really getting a melody. And I thought, I'm going to bring someone else in on this. And then we kind of came up with something that started there, but it ended up completely different from my original lyrics and probably from the melody as well. So, songs evolve, and I think collaboration is a really beautiful thing. And I think it's good as an artist to understand the importance of working with other people.
And is it quite common for you to do a lot of rewrites, or do you complete it in one go, sort of thing?
I think the best kind of writing is rewriting. So actually, this was Tamara and my second session, because we'd kind of written the song completely, and then we'd gone back, and then there was just a few things that were niggling me, and then a few things were niggling her as well. And actually, we've gone back, and I'm so pleased with like what we've rewritten, because it just makes so much more sense. And for me, it's the songs become more universal and personal rather than just personal.
Can you remember writing your first song?
I can, yeah. Baby, you've got to be what you want to be. Baby, you gotta go where you wanna go. Something like that. I was 13.
When you write a song, do you try to consciously guide the meaning, or do you try to follow a subconscious direction?
Kind of a bit of both, I guess. There's definitely, you sort of sit and you're like, this is what I want to write about. And in the end, if you've got one specific situation or one specific idea and you want it to tie into that, but sometimes that can lead you off on different tangents. So yeah, kind of a bit of both.
Have you written anything where you can't explain where it's come from?
I don't think so.
You not listen back on some of your lyrics from the past and think, I have no idea where that came from, or?
No, for me, like, it, as a writer, I want to be authentic and write from personal experience or from storytelling, but those stories always come from somewhere. So I don't think I've ever looked back and just thought, oh gosh, I don't know where that came from. I go back, I keep all of my just like lyrics that I write down, and I genuinely remember exactly what I was thinking at the time. Even when I scroll back to like lyrics from 2012 or 2013, I'm like, I remember that. Like, I remember how I felt. So
who has influenced you lyrically?
I love I'm a really big fan of John Prine. I think so many writers would say that. He sadly passed away from coronavirus, which was a really heartbreaking time for the Americana and folk world and songwriter world. Really, he'd worked a lot with one of the guys that I write with. It's just definitely John Prine is up there. I listen to loads of stuff. I really like the bands. Songwriter wise, I mean, James Taylor. It's often like those classic names, but they songwriters listen to them because there's something just so incredible and meaningful and authentic about everything that they say, which is why songwriters do like gravitate towards them.
What about female artists?
Female artists, so it's constantly changing. I really respect and love Imelda May. I think she's had an incredible career. She writes beautiful, beautiful songs. Her last album, Love, Life, Flesh, Blood, is just stunning, and showed a real change in style, which I respect her for, because it's actually really hard to, she went from being sort of real hardcore rockabilly artist to this beautiful classic Americana-esque, but just some real classic music. And it was so beautifully well done. And she worked with T-Bone Burnett, who's one of the coolest producers in the world, and it created such a stunning album. And so I'm a big Imelda May fan. I really respect Beth Hart. I think she's had an amazing career. And Bonnie Raitt, flippin' heck. I love Bonnie to pieces. What a role model. Mavis Staples. Yeah, real icons.
If you could go back in time, what advice would you give to like the 20-year-old you?
Don't think silence is directed at you. That's in the sense of I do lots of artist consultancy now, and I often speak to sort of artists on their early career, and they send, I've sent them 1,000 emails, and they've not got back to me once or anything like that. They don't like my music. That's probably not true. Like, if you're doing something good and you're reaching out to the right people, they might not just have noticed what you're doing yet. You might not be like, they might just be waiting for you to do, for you to do your first tour or something like that. So, and also there's so much noise out there. There's so much noise. People are getting 1,000 emails a day being like, can you book my band, please? And stuff like that. So I don't take the silence personally, and don't let that discourage you, because I've had people that I work with now that I emailed a lot of times. I didn't do not hassle people, but I kept in touch with them for a long time. And it was only when the time was right that we actually started working together. And I do also think it's important to believe that you're 2 years ahead of where you actually are, because you kind of have to as a musician. There's it's a brutal, it's a tough world, and you really have to believe in what you do, and believe that you are ready 2 years before you actually are ready.
If you could change anything about the music industry, what would it be?
I mean, I'd love for people to get paid what they are due. I think, it's art is being squeezed, and budgets are being cut, and often artists play for free or something like that. And I don't think wages really have changed on the live circuit,
nope.
For years. So
I remember it's still the same since the mid-90s.
Yeah, which is mad, isn't it? So but it is the way it is. And I just really, for me in this time, I really hope people are enjoying the music that they're able to access. But please remember that the artists that are performing, especially, the professionals who've just had to stop all of their work, like, they need feeding, they need roofs over their heads, and suddenly a lot of, how they make their money has just gone. So if people can remember that, I think that would be great. And same with the venues and theatres, and it's scary times out there if you're in the entertainment world.
How long do you give yourself from having the sort of finished album to releasing it? What's that time period? Do you have a time period?
Not really.
You know, for the promotion and PR and all
However,
that, do you?
give yourself time, I'd say. So I finished Wildfire probably by the time it was like mixed and mastered, it was January 2017. And I released it September 2017. But I'd planned to release it in April when people were like, no, Els, you need more time. And often when I'm working with artists, I've had people come to me being like, I'm going to drop my album in 6 weeks. And I'm like, no, don't do that. We haven't even got your biog yet, you know? So give yourself time. I finished Road I Call Home. Yeah, they were finished and bundled up for about 9 months before they got shown to the world.
That's when you're sort of doing your radio plug-in and your magazines and blogs and stuff.
Yeah, I think, you know, I finished Road I Call Home in the August. The first single dropped in the November, the second in February, and the album dropped in March. And Wildfire, I think I dropped 3 singles before the record came out. So Wildfire, the single came out in February 2017. Then Same Flame was like June, and then What If I was like the week before the album dropped. But I think time is really important just to give people a chance, you know, because they're getting 1,000 emails a day, they might miss the first 2. So to give them time to listen to the record and sort of get up to speed with what you're doing, definitely give yourself time.
Okay. And you recorded that in Nashville, didn't you, these ones?
Yeah, so I recorded Wildfire in Nashville. I did, however, work with Joe Wilkins and Johnny Henderson, who are part of my touring band. And then for Road I Call Home, I did 9 tracks in Nashville and 2 in Mono Valley Studios in Wales with my touring band.
That's a good studio, that one.
Yeah. Really good. It was fun.
Who was the engineer on that?
So my engineer from Nashville came over. So he produced and engineered it. He's called Steve Blackmon, and then Brad Knoll also produced it. And they came over from Nashville. Brad was he was just obsessed by all the sheep in Wales. It's like I've never seen so many sheep in my life.
That's great. So what's next then for you?
There's plan A, there's plan B, there's plan C, there's plan D. We just don't know. I was meant to be touring all year. Obviously, that's a lot of that's been cancelled. I do have a tour booked for October, November, and December. I had lots of European touring. Again, it's all kind of being rescheduled to next year. I was meant to be in Nashville in May, finishing my 3rd record. So now I'm just figuring out actually how to do the next record and how that looks. I did loads of writing at the beginning of the year and now I'm starting to write again. So I'm figuring out exactly what to say on this next album.
And what about the other stuff you mentioned? You're doing sort of help for unsigned or artists and that, or is that a thing you're doing for money, or?
I work with a company called Big I Am, based in Brighton. So Mark Eade, and he asked me to come on board. So I've been doing that sort of on and off for the last year. I worked on Martin Harley's release, and I'm a big fan of Martin, so that was like an honor to work on his release. And then we actually went on tour together, which was great. And so I have not got any projects, I don't think. Oh no, I have one at the moment. So and I do that just because I love the business, really. And you know, I often just help with my help sort of my friends as well.
I wondered if it was something you do on the side for more like extreme come. That's what
It's not really like something that I do kind of on the side. I do it when basically if there's a project that I really want to work with that Mark's got, we kind of do it together.
And for people watching, for them getting hold of you, what's the best way of getting hold of you and finding out about your stuff, your website and...
Yeah, so head to my website and you can be directed in wherever you want to go on the internet, so Spotify or Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. So just it's ellesbailey.com and you can go there and find everything you need, really.
Yeah, I watched some of you with Lady Nad. Is that her name?
Lady Nade.
Nade,
Lady Nade. Yeah. She's awesome. Absolute legend.
She's got a nice voice.
Beautiful voice. Yeah, she's a Bristol gal, and we've been on tour together a lot. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, she's a bit of a character.
She is definitely a character. Yeah, bless her. She just got hit by a van that on her bike, so she's at home. Yeah, she's at home healing. So big love to you, Nade. Rest up and heal up.
Yeah. Well, she's mentioned she likes her food and writes.
She has a recipe book that goes with her first album. Nade is all about food, and she's is brilliant. She writes recipes that go with her songs.
So what's your desert island disc?
Oh man, it's just like the meanest question ever. I just can't do them. I did an isolation 7 songs in isolation. I'm trying to remember what I picked.
What's your track 1 then? What's your first?
I don't know. Like, they're just evil questions. Music. I think for me, there's no one song. There's a song if I'm feeling sad. There's a song if I'm, feeling happy or something like that. I love Angel from Montgomery. Everyone knows that. I released it as a single. I love it so much. So the original, actually, the Bonnie version is...
I've got it on Road... Is it Road Tested? Or something like that, the album? The live album with...
Oh, okay.
With loads of different artists.
Oh.
It's a DVD of that as well. Don't know if it's up there. But yeah, Bryan Adams and loads of other different people... It's a good album, but that's on there. She does it.
Okay, I the original from John Prine's first record is so incredible, and it's totally different to the Bonnie version. And I didn't realise, but the chap who I've done so much writing with, a guy called Bobby Wood, and he played keys on my first album. And he played keys. He played keys on that song, and I love it so much. And I've listened to it so many times, being like, the keys are so cool. And then it's only really recently that I found out that it was Bobby playing. So, legend, love it.
So that'll be one of your desert island songs.
Yeah, definitely.
What about books? Any books you're reading?
Not at the moment. I've just found my Kindle, so I'm going to charge it up and see what I was reading. I really like sort of historic novels. I'm really into medieval history and sort of basically from, the 1100s up to about the 1500s. It's like my era of history, but it's always historic novels, so that they're sort of written as a story based on, research from the time. But yeah, I'm really into stuff like that. So I'm named after Eleanor of Aquitaine, and I read a really great series about the life of Eleanor of Aquitaine. So, and I can't think what it's called now.
Is that the same for TV? Same sort of themes, or?
Yeah, Game of Thrones, Last Kingdom. That's been my Netflix binging. However, this is Nick and I have just been watching a TV show called The Durrells, which is so random and so not like anything we'd watched, but just very light-hearted, and we can sort of go to another world and kind of not worry about this one for a while.
If you could go back in time for one day, what day would you go back to and why? Is there an event in time or history that you'd like to have witnessed or been a part of?
I think I immediately went to the moon landing. I went to 69. I don't know why. I don't know if that's just because we've just had 50 years of, the moon landing. So it's just in my head, like, what a time. I don't know. I'd have liked to be, I think being alive in the 60s would have been really fun, though. Like all the music and the sort of feeling of it.
Did you have any other hobbies?
I've recently taken up cycling. That's been my lockdown hobby, which I've absolutely loved. I used to play hockey, but I couldn't do that and be an artist as well. It was just too much time away at the weekend. So, but yeah, cycling is definitely my thing now.
I'll just do a quick fire round with a couple of questions. So, cash or card?
Card.
Silence or conversation?
Silence.
What's right? What is it? No. Better or easier?
What?
Better or easier?
Better.
Better. Would you ask for permission or ask for forgiveness?
Oh, I'm not very good at this, am I? These are good questions. Permission.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Odd or even?
Even.
Impulsive or methodical?
Impulsive. So I probably should be asking for forgiveness, shouldn't I?
Are you a morning or night person?
Night.
Do you sing in the shower?
100%. My neighbours hear me all the time.
Is it the same song?
No. I often write in the shower.
Inside the box or outside the box?
There is no box.
There's no box, no? Heaven or hell?
Heaven.
Heaven. Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
If you want to, you can play some music out and I could fade.
I didn't mention Janis Joplin. I love Janis Joplin. This is the girl who is. Little girl lost in the street. Storms thrown, don't fall at her feet. She's bruised, battered, broken and torn. Rose of bloom on a petal. She's lonely and hard. So oh, fire blazing. So dead. Oh, spiders out of the air. Nothing left to lose. Oh, our little girl, here she on the move. Walls built so high, oh, to hide behind. Slave to the demons that dwell in her mind. A heart feel passion So beautiful. Oh, fire blazing. So beautiful. Just right on the edge, yeah. Nothing left to lose. Ooh, what little girl. Ooh, the blue.
Hey, it's Tommy Allen from TommyAllenMusic.com, and that was Elles Bailey. You can find out more about her and her music at EllesBailey.com. Next week we have London-based guitarist Mr. Robin Beebe. Check him out right here next Wednesday, 7 p.m. GMT on Tommy Allen Music. Please give us a like, hit the subscribe button. Until next week, a word from our director.